What's up, everybody? Once again, this is Bill Mike here, and dropping another video on everybody here. I know it's been a while since I made a video, but I figured I would drop another one on since it's 1 weekend away from football. Yes, the NFL is once again starting another season. As of course, I'm a beloved Carolina Panthers fan. I have been a Carolina Panthers fan basically ever since their inception. But it's just great to know ready for some football to start back. So figured I'd make a video and discuss a little bit of football. With my Panthers, talking about the season. It was kind of an up and down season last year. We finished the division, which thankfully we won back to back. First time that's ever happened the NFC South since they switched and changed the divisions around. But I'm very happy for them. Hopefully their preseason this year as an indicator that hopefully they're going to get on the right track. Last year, pick up from where they were last year. Last year they were 7-8-1. That one tie they had with the Cincinnati Bengals, but that wasn't a tale of basically how they finished off the last 4 or 5 games of the season. Played really hard. Things were starting to click together. And that's kind of where I'm hoping that it'll pick up from last year. They've basically their receiver who was big for them last year, rookie receiver Kelvin Benjamin, as you know, during the preseason, he's out for the whole year. That's a big hurt and hit that the Panthers are going to deal with. I really was impressed last year. It was his rookie year last year. He came out of Florida State, rookie, got over 1,000 yards. He and Greg Olsen, the tight end, did, leading the team. And I was very, which Greg Olsen, we all know he's a great target for Cam. And basically the tight end to me is one of my favorite target positions when it comes to passing. But I'm thinking that our preseason over 3-1. And not too bad. Cam, was a little bit shaky. Their offense really wasn't finding the end zone, at least with the first team offense. Wasn't really finding the end zone like I was hoping that they would. Cam, his major problem last year, what I'm hoping that he will do better in is basically his footwork. That and the fact that he's been sacked and hit twice as much as the next quarterback has. But I'm hoping that Michael Orr, he has been getting very good reviews since the OTAs and the preseason and whatnot. But I'm hoping that he can shore up, and protect Cam's side so that he won't get as hit much, and hopefully Cam can get his footwork established, because one of the main things I saw with Cam last year was his tendency to sell the ball, and that's typical in some instances, but this is going to his 4th season, and that's something you kind of hoping that he has gotten out. Carolina, instead of him working on that, which he has been, and Coach Rivera has said that, it's just to me that I'm hoping that he'll eventually, get that work done. But I even, and not only me, friends, even the broadcasters on TV were pointing that out. They're like, hey, Cam needs to get his feet set. He's throwing off that back foot, and he's not planting his feet and then throwing the ball. He's throwing off that back foot, and anybody knows when you throw off your back foot, the ball's going to go sailing, Especially, it was more evident in that game they played against Seattle last year, and it just, that's not a good thing. I know Carolina likes tall receivers. They don't have to be the fastest, and which I miss Steve Smith. This was my favorite wide receiver Carolina had. Steve Smith was very small, and he was very fast, very resilient, very tough, but he wasn't very big, but with Cam, I guess this problem with him sailing the ball a little high, as we saw last year at points, they have to get tall receivers. They're not the fastest, but they're going 6'4", 6'5", with receivers. So if Cam has that tendency to throw it a tad bit high, hopefully the receivers can go up and get it, and the receiver they, drafted in the draft, Devin Funches, I believe is his name, out of Michigan. He looks to be like a really good pickup for them, but he's been nagging with a hamstring problem, so he really hasn't played as much as they were kind of hoping that he would pick up on that offense. But Cam, which is a good quarterback receiver combination, he's really good at trying to get familiar with his receivers, and he did that last year with Kelvin Benjamin, and as soon as Carolina drafted him out of Florida State, they went ahead and he spent a lot of time with Kelvin trying to develop that bond, trying to develop the chemistry, so that you hoping that they basically can get a bond and chemistry. And when you have a good quarterback wide receiver chemistry, it works out really well. I mean, you look back at the old days in Indianapolis when you had Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison. They worked out so much. So I saw that with Kelvin and Cam. I thought, hey, great, that's what they need. He can develop trust, get the timing down, put it where he needs it. And now this year, since Kelvin is out, it's gonna, you're gonna have guys like Corey Brown, and you're going to have Jericho Cotchery, NC State represent. You're going to have Devin Funches. Hopefully he'll be ready to go. And you're just relying on their receivers to kind of step it up, because when your number one goes down for the year with a torn ACL, you've got to step it up. I mean, Carolina is getting picked by most media outlets and whatnot to finish first in their division, very close. And you're hoping that even with Kelvin out, which to me, I kind of like Olsen. Olsen, is very tough and he can catch some passes. I'm hoping that they'll use that tight end more in some passing. So I just hope that works out well with Cam, is he gets his footwork taken care of. He quits throwing off that back foot, that his the wide receivers and Cam are a cohesive unit, that they can work together, get their timing down, and hopefully they can repeat again on the as far as the division goes, and hopefully be a three-peat with the NFC South. They've grown steadily. The only problem with Carolina is they don't start the season strong, but they finish it out in the second half strong. It's like a tale of two halves. The first 8 games, they're not really as together, but when it comes down, it seems like the crunch time to the second half of the season, that's when they really kick it up. And me personally, as a Panthers fan, I would love to see them get 10 wins, get 11 wins, like they have a couple times in, Carolina, and then have that winning record, because everybody just blows it off from last year because they had a losing record. They said, oh, well, it's not a tough division. And up until the last couple of years, in my point of view, in the NFC South, it's been one of the most unpredictable divisions and one of the toughest divisions, because basically everybody's beating on everybody. That's why you had up until the last year, you never had anybody repeat. There was always somebody that was there, somebody that was willing to one stronger than the other. They would just fight it out, and when you beat up on each other, you're going to have that. But last year was just a bad season and all for the division, so I'm hoping that they are doing pretty good. I've read a couple of predictions of where Carolina will finish. So, optimism at the least, and I'll give the very bottom least is I think Carolina's going to at least hopefully go 9-7 at least. Barring any surprises, because you never know. That's the great thing about football, is your receivers, they're probably going to step up. You've got, and speaking of dealing away from the quarterback now and dealing with your running backs, we've got a bunch of great running backs behind us. Jonathan Stewart, he's now the starter. The Panthers let go of D'Angelo, last year. and he's now signed with Pittsburgh, and now it's Jonathan Stewart. He's not really played solidly, he's been hurt a lot of times, and this new running back they drafted, Cam Artis-Payne, I think is his name, but he looked really good in the preseason and carrying it. So hopefully, if Stewart doesn't step it up, you've got a good rookie coming in there that can hopefully ground it pound it, because he's the same prototype as Stewart is. So you're just hoping that that's basically he can carry that, if Stewart can't handle it. But you've also got Tolbert back there, running back / fullback that's doing well. So, you've just got these guys, Fozzie Whitaker as well. He's still there. He did good last year. So if they can just establish that running game, then, that should help out with Cam. Because Cam, what I've noticed him in the preseasons, he didn't do so much running. Now, I don't know if it's because he didn't want to run, or he wasn't given the green light to run, or if he just but he stayed more in the pocket. Now, I like that. I like that he stayed in the pocket, and if he just develops to where he can run only when he needs to run, then that's wonderful. It's kind of like Donovan McNabb was back in Philadelphia. He was a mobile quarterback, but he would rather stay in the pocket, and if he just couldn't get it, then he would go. Michael Vick wasn't so much that. Michael Vick would do 2 check downs, and he'd go. He wouldn't really stay around too long in the pocket for something to develop. He'd just go head on. So if you can get that running back situation, and they can hopefully help Cam, it will be, and it would make him a lot better, because it's much easier to throw the ball when you're standing on 2 feet rather than being laid on the ground and taking a sack. So I'm just hoping that they do well. Like I said, the minimum we're going 10-7, at the most, 11 or 9-7, excuse me, 9-7 at the most, 10-6 is what I'm giving. I mean, I look at their schedule. Carolina plays Jacksonville with Sunday the 13th. When we came into the league with them, and they've kind of won up on us in the last 5 meetings. I think they've won 3-5, 3 out of the 5. So, but we have looked a lot better because we have had more playoff appearances, more division titles, everything. So we kind of matched up where hopefully we should get a win, But then the following week, we've got the Texans, we have the Saints, the Bucks, Seahawks, Eagles, Colts, Packers, Titans, Redskins, Cowboys, Saints, Falcons, Giants, and finally we play the Bucks at home to finish out the season and in our division. So we've got some tough games. Packers, Colts, very tough. Dallas even, seeing how they're going to do this year. We've got the Seahawks once again, which I always feel like that's a good schedule to have. Have these guys playing against these guys that are, tops in their leagues. You want to play against strong teams. You don't want to get and look at the schedule and say, well, every team they played was a bad team. They should have beat these teams. You just want really good matchups. So I just really hope that they do well. I've been looking forward to it since the end of the postseason last year. When Carolina won their, Cam got his first playoff win, against Arizona, and they fell in Seattle. But, I'm still hopeful that they can go far. I just hope that things gel well together with them so that they're able to have a really good season and build on it. You want the Panthers, and what they've not had is consistency throughout their time. They've not had like back-to-back winning seasons, and I can't remember when, even if they had. But I am hoping that they will be consistent, get it back a winning season, and are able to go far. They went to the playoffs. I'm looking for them to hopefully to be in the playoffs again this year, so that they can show America more than what we know of, that they're a really good team. Cam is a franchise quarterback. We have weapons, and the more people can put us down, the Panthers down, and doubt them, is the more it feels like we can prove the Panthers can prove prove to the nation and to these analysts that they do deserve to be near, one of the top 10 teams. But, I'm just hoping, and I've been waiting, like I said, when the draft came out, and now the OTAs, and now the preseason. Now we're getting ready to get into the season. So I'm just excited. I'm ready for football. I'm ready for the Panthers, and I'm just ready for the season to start. And I just wanted to make sure that I made a video before the start of the season and let everybody know that I will be pulling from my Panthers this year, and I'm looking forward to a great season. My pick is 9-7 least, 10-6 at the most. I'm looking at that 9-10 win range for the Panthers. So this is Bill Mack here, and everyone take care. And I'm signing off, and can't wait till the season kicks off. So this is Bill Mack, and I'm signing off.